Minecraft is one of the best games of all time, but there's been so many different editions of Minecraft that I can't even keep track, and there's been so many that people have forgotten about some of them. But for the longest time, the 3DS never got an edition of Minecraft. 7 or 6 years after the release of the 3DS, they decided to port Minecraft. Way too late, and the game sucked. Now, Bearman, he does a great job with this video. It's worth a watch.
Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition. Wow, a tale for the ages. Such a thrilling story. In 2010, Nintendo announced the 3DS, a successor to the DS that could play games in 3D, which at the time was a fucking huge deal. 3D this, 3D that. Everyone and their parole officer needed 3D to be a part of everything. Movies, TV shows, and yes, even video games. The issue was, this thing didn't have that much power, and using 3D meant cutting your already low resolution in half. But you know what? Who cares? It's got a Mario, an Animal Crossing, another
Yeah, I will say, for all the things that the Nintendo 3DS did well in paving the way for the future of gaming, the fact that it looked like it was the Nintendo Entertainment System from the Ronald Reagan presidency era did not do anything that, you know, we wanted for the future of gaming. I will say, though, the 3D itself was pretty cool. I do remember there was one time during lunch where there was a kid in elementary school, actually, 5th grade. This kid was playing Mario 3D World, which is the game he's showing on screen, and he got so fucking dizzy, and the dizziness that he got from the game mixed in with the nausea that he got from the school lunch Michelle Obama administration food caused him to throw up, and he had to be sent home. And all I remember is that he was never playing on the DS anymore after that. So
Mario? A third Mario? I mean, Christ, this thing's got everything I want. And only $170? Wow, what a bargain. But wait a minute. Something's
that's not
missing.
bad at all.
Owners of the 3DS could feel the presence of something, or rather lack thereof.
Right.
But finally, after over 3 years of waiting, it had finally arrived. On November 20th, 2014, it finally happened.
Minecraft.
Battle Miner was officially
Battle Miner! Wow, even the fucking cover looks terrible. These are the most dimly lit, atrocious looking trees I've ever seen. Look how every leaf block is identical. Look at this. Dot here, dot here, dot here. Dot here, dot here, dot here. This is the most recycled crap you can even imagine. Battle Miner.
released for the 3DS. It was
I remember when this dropped, the world stood still.
everything we wanted. The mining, the crafting, it's all here. Movement is done with the circle pad, while the camera control is done with the face buttons. The game runs so smoothly and has all the features we grew up with. There's mobs, inventory management, naturally
Nice.
generated structures,
Yes.
AK-47s. Wow,
What?
What? And there's bombs, too. There's a bigger selection of handguns than I remember.
Yeah, that one does not ring familiar. What's going on with that? Is that the gun that was used to... Let's stop and think before we speak. I'm not going to say that, but I don't remember that gun being in the
Maybe
game.
I'm just confused. Okay, maybe that wasn't it, but just
Battle
a few
Miner.
months later, on April 23rd...
What could the purpose of this even be? What is the purpose of having a fucking assault rifle in the game? Mind you, during a time when gun violence was surely on the rise. This came out in like 2015 or 2016. Wasn't there like a PewDiePie, some guy who said subscribe to PewDiePie around this time?
But maybe I'm just confused. Okay, maybe that wasn't it. But
Whatever,
just a few
forget
months
about that.
later, on April 23rd, 2015, we really got our prayers answered.
Let's go!
When Cube Creator 3D finally made its way onto the 3DS. It was everything we wanted. That classic look with all the elements. The 3DS version even featured some improvements. The cows
Nice.
are around now.
What the fuck?
The C-Stick was even supported for new 3DS systems. Bears were added. Wow, they really went all out here.
Bears.
I don't really remember whatever the fuck this is, though. The
Hmm.
water also doesn't look very good. But at least this version supports local multiplayer. If you pay for it?
Oh.
What the fuck? Alright, well, it was
Local multiplayer.
local multiplayer. If you pay for
How much was it? Balance $0? Bro, what?
it? What the fuck? Alright, well, it wasn't that one either, but for sure this time, God had finally listened and graced the eShop just a few short years later on December 21st, 2017.
Let's
Battle
go.
Miners, with a Z, was
What the... is this... This is Walter White from Breaking Bad. This is Skylar White from Breaking Bad. This sheep looks like a countertop, and everything else is just wrong on every single level. This guy doesn't even have a face. There's so many things that I'm thinking when I see this, but ultimately I can't tell you what I'm thinking, but more so what I'm feeling, and it's uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable.
wow, here it is, the real deal. Still doesn't support the C-Stick, but
Breaking Obsidian? Good one.
that's okay. We can customize Steve's look, too. This game has a tutorial
What?
built into it as well. Wow, the graphics and sounds are so much better, too. The bottom screen even has a built-in map. The mobs look a bit crusty, though.
Ew.
And I can't hit them. There's also a
What?
bunch of mobs I don't remember. Like, what the fuck are these things? And these assault rifles still
What?
don't ring a bell. At least this one has built-in chat. I don't know who the fuck you'd be talking to, though. Okay, well, that sucked. Alright.
Who would you what?
Well, this time...
Just for the schizo audience that it wants to have a prolonged monologue with the audience of 0 people. You know, if you just want to just write into the void for no reason at all, we've added a notepad feature. This makes no sense. You can just look at the text that you've just wrote. I think that just an internal monologue would serve just fine.
Time for real. This
also, I'm not even joking when I say that this
fuck you to be talking to, though. Okay.
This logo, I think I made personally when I was 15 years old and discovered Photoshop for the first time. Worst thing I've ever seen. Fire anyone involved in this.
Well, that sucked. Alright, well, this time for real. This is finally it. What we've all been waiting for. Here it is. January 8th, 2019.
Alright, this should be it.
Cube Creators DX.
Yes!
Wow, here it is. After all this time. Finally, the game we've been waiting for. Right here in the palm of my hand. Wow, listen to this music. They really stepped it up. It's almost like Zelda-y. You can customize your spawn with different biomes, and they even added a way to share your worlds. Wow, the frame rate's worse, but I can live with that. I don't really know who the fuck this is also. You're playing as Kirby with jaundice. Weird game over screen, too. There's a lot of new biomes, though, which is exciting, but these worlds are really tiny. And also, this game controls like piss. What the fuck? Well, if this isn't it, then what the hell am I waiting for? Wait, let me see here. Oh, yeah, that's right, Minecraft. Oh, well, wait, isn't the Nintendo Switch out already? Where the hell is Minecraft on my 3DS? I've been waiting all this time and I'm still stuck with these shitty bootleg- Oh, the game's been out for 2 years. Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition. It's finally here after being shadow dropped in a Nintendo Direct. Wow,
Bro.
I waited 7
years for Minecraft. Dude, it is the easiest game to port, is it not? I've seen people run Minecraft on a monitor itself. No PC, they just use the hardware in the monitor to process the graphics. I've seen someone run Minecraft on like, what was a person runs Minecraft on Apple Watch, maybe? Can you play Minecraft on an Apple Watch? Dude, people have run Minecraft on a graphing calculator, a printer display, a brain fuck interpreter. What? Using esoteric programming language brainfuck, someone created a basic Minecraft-like render. Minecraft on a pregnancy test? A modder gutted a digital pregnancy test and repurposed the screen to run Doom and then Minecraft. Minecraft on a smartwatch. Minecraft on a smart fridge. Minecraft on a smart mirror. Someone has made playable Minecraft inside of Minecraft? No way. And yet they couldn't put it on an actual system. Dude, it was out on the fridge before it was out on the fucking 3DS. That is a problem. That is a problem because I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if it was Minecraft's fault or Nintendo's fault, but I'll tell you this much. They left money on the counter for sure because when every kid was in elementary and middle school, on their 3DS, you know, when I was in middle school and elementary school, the one game that everyone was playing was Minecraft, and it was absent, noticeably so. So then, like, you know, you're just leaving money on the table.
fucking years for this.
The pregnancy, like, oh my goodness, like, imagine, like, baby, we're gonna have to abort it. To get my mind off this, I'm deciding to use this pregnancy test to boot up a fucking hardcore world.
Available exclusively in the 3DS eShop to receive a physical release the next month only in North America. What in God's name is going on here? How did we get here? Wasn't this supposed to happen like 6 years ago? Why is there no 3D? What does this warning mean? Alright, well, hold on. Let's pause for a second. Minecraft, the best-selling game on the planet. This indie game turned corporate cancer had a small start as it was slowly being developed into a fully fleshed out game throughout 2009 and 2010 for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Since its first public release on May 17, 2009, Java Edition has grown and expanded massively while spawning its own little massive successes, all starting with Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition. Some people were skeptical about adapting Minecraft's controls to a controller, but upon its release, it was clear that every kid on the block would blow their brains out if that fat guy didn't get them a copy come Christmas 2012. And despite the game lacking Kinect support, like Phil Spencer promised us at E3 2011.
And this year, you'll get to experience the infinite possibilities of Minecraft combined with the magic of Kinect.
Fucking liar. Somehow the world managed. And from there, born was the console legacy line of Minecraft ports. These console legacy ports stood strong alongside Java Edition and the recently released Pocket Edition. The games were known for their solid programming and minimal bugs, controls and UI that were perfectly tailored for the consoles they were developed for. It seemed like console players had an extremely well-optimized line of ports that they could trust to provide them with exactly what they were missing from PCs. But it wouldn't last forever.
Wait, what did he write
trust
there?
to provide them with exactly what they were missing from PCs. But it wouldn't last forever.
You wrote fat hit. What does that mean? Facet? Oh, fast, fat shit. I can't read.
Forever. After nearly 6 years running strong, the console legacy line of Minecraft ports saw its final installment and was suddenly dying and being replaced. What was replacing these console ports? None other than Minecraft Pocket Edition. Starting September 20th, 2017, the Better Together update struck the franchise, and Minecraft Xbox One Edition was replaced with Minecraft Pocket Edition, now simply called Minecraft. The same happened to the confusingly named Minecraft Windows 10 Edition, which wasn't a console legacy port, but rather a literal port of Pocket Edition to PC, even though Java Edition had been on PC since Minecraft came
10
into
years.
existence. So,
12 years.
What would you rather play on PC? The full-blown experience or the mobile version? Such a tough decision. Well, within a few months of the Better Together update, more news of the console legacy purge was rolled out. The previous generation of consoles would cease being updated, and the most recent consoles would see their ports being replaced by this new version of the mobile game. By June of 2018, console legacy was practically dead, the only remnant being PS4 Edition, which was only supported while Microsoft worked out crossplay tension with Sony until late 2019. But while console legacy was being killed off, there was something going on in the background that not many people were really paying attention to.
Dude, do you guys remember with Pocket Edition that there was something that you could do besides the Nether? There was this other thing you could do. The Nether reactor core. Do you guys remember that? Dude, yes, bro. Do you guys remember this? Are you guys old enough to remember this? Oh my goodness. Do you guys remember this? This is a deep cut.
There were a handful of ports with much smaller player bases than console legacy that were...
Yeah, like, what are you doing playing Minecraft on the Amazon TV? Yo, bro, are you gonna hop on? No, bro, my parents have to watch TV. What does that mean? Oh, like, we don't have a cable box, we use Apple TV. Right, but I don't understand. Oh yeah, I play on I play on Apple TV. Dude, oh my god, there's so many games that have just been like, I don't understand why Apple TV decided to add games. I just don't. Like, just be for TV.
We're also making the transition. These ports were in the same party.
It's just like, I don't get it. Like, I also don't understand like why Tesla has TikTok on it. You can scroll TikTok on your Tesla car. Are things this bad as a society that we can't stop at a red light without getting a quick dopamine fix? Is this how far we've fallen? Like, I remember when, actually, I don't remember when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. I was going to say I did, but I don't. But essentially, I think if he were to see where technology is today, he would have held off with inventing the telephone, like, maybe a good, 20 years.
Party is Windows 10 Edition. Versions of Minecraft Pocket Edition slightly modified to run on niche hardware. And despite being ports of Pocket Edition, were given names similar to the console legacy games. Minecraft Gear VR Edition, Fire TV Edition, Apple TV Edition, Windows 10 Edition, for Oculus Rift, all one-off ports of Pocket Edition, one by one making the transition to this new modern Minecraft. Except Apple TV Edition. Nobody cares about Apple TV Edition. Except me. And funnily enough, every single one of these one-off ports are no longer supported. But at the time, it was clear that these one-off versions of Minecraft where multiplayer was limited only to players using the same version were a thing of the past. Going forward, any copy of Minecraft you buy will support crossplay with every other platform that Minecraft is on. Until Mojang stops feeling like it. No more Xbox One multiplayer only. No more Gear VR players being isolated from PS4 players. No more Wii U owners being stuck playing with other Wii U owners. Okay, well that one, yeah, that's they can still only play with Wii U owners. But the point being that all the confusion of version names and cross...
I wonder how many people are actively playing Minecraft on the Wii U among other Wii U players. Like, how often do you think it is that you're going to go to play a game and then multiplayer, and then there's actually people occupying the server? Because, obviously, if there is any, that would be crazy, but I also think that there isn't enough... Like, Mojang would not put bots in it either. I don't know if they're even able to put bots in it anymore, because it's on the Wii U hosting, right? So, I don't know.
Still only play with Wii U owners. But the point being that all the confusion of version names and crossplay and backward compatibility, all things of the past. Going forward, anything Minecraft is just going to be called Minecraft. And it's all going to be under the same roof. But for some dumb fucking reason, amidst all this push to move the franchise forward and unite every platform the game is supported on, Mojang made a bizarre decision. A decision that not only made no sense whatsoever, but also went against everything they'd been pushing for the last few months. Something that would stand out while every other version was being moved into the future. On September 13th, 2017, for some fuck-all reason, Mojang announced and released Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition.
Oh yeah!
So for all this push towards a universal version of Minecraft that all worked in tandem with each other, Mojang released a version of Minecraft that did absolutely none of that. A version of Minecraft that didn't even have multiplayer, let alone cross.
What am I looking at now with extra hugs? Dude, you have like 4 options. You can play, adjust your skins, learn how to play, and then adjust the options for when you play. This is the most stripped of any content version of Minecraft that exists, I think, ever. People who have made Minecraft run on a pregnancy test were getting a more complete experience than this. How do they, can they add crossplay between the other pregnancy tests? I think that would be pretty cool. I also think that they need to make sure that the texture packs are going to be, beneficial to the frame rate. That's neither here nor there. I'm looking at this and I'm just utterly shocked that this was made in the year 2017. This looks like the fucking beta. The beta for Minecraft that was made in 2007 or 8. Was it 2008? 2010 maybe? It looks like a decade before its time.
A version with addition in the title. A version of Minecraft based on Pocket Edition. Behind so far on the latest update that the end wasn't even in the game at launch.
What?
What in the holy mother of fuck is
going on?
Yeah,
it's beta.
Shouldn't
it's literally a beta.
Out like 5 years ago? You know, back when all the consoles were getting their console legacy ports?
Yeah.
What's the point of releasing it now? Not only is the 3DS's eventual successor out, but so is its own port of Minecraft. What's the point of this happening now?
Like, at this point, the newer console that actually has people playing on it has Minecraft on it, so then after that takes place, why release it on the Nintendo 3DS? Just admit that you were late and that you're not going to be able to put Minecraft on at a point where people are going to download and play it, and that's it. Just support and update the new version that you're doing.
Well, before I lose my shit, let me step back for a moment and explain why this thing happened. I don't know.
I don't either.
3D, right? Remember 3D? It's like having 2 dimensions, but there's a third one also.
Okay.
Invented by John 3D
I'm
in the
familiar.
year 2000.
Is that his name, John 3D? That wouldn't be his name.
3D. 3D took over every single form of media out there. People were going to the movies and watching
Bro.
Nicole Kidman say meaningless garbage in 3D. Families were sitting in their living room
I
watching
hate
their
that
favorite
trailer.
nature shows in 3D. Nerds were walking around with their 3D smartphones. People were getting their
Jonah? You see what Jonah said there?
3D. Nerds were walking around with
Hey man, I just got the pipe bomb.
their 3D smartphones.
Huh.
People were getting their PlayStation 3D monitors and playing Black Ops in 3D. 3D
That sounds like cancer.
here, 3D there. People just couldn't live without 3D. If you asked someone in 2010 to see Avatar with you in 2D, they would kill your entire family in front of you. You'd invite some bitches over and they'd gawk at your 3D TV, your 3D computer monitor, and more impressively, your non-rechargeable Samsung 3D glasses. It was guaranteed
What?
head. The issue with all of this
Yeah.
was it was kind of seen as a passing fad. 3D was always a big deal when some big movie came out. In the 50s, you'd see Creature from the Black Lagoon with your cringe blue and red glasses. In the 80s, everyone had to see Jaws 3D and get their mind blown by some of the most mediocre writing Hollywood's
looks
ever
terrible.
thrown up. And now
Yeah.
finally, in 2009,
Avatar.
America received what
Blue sex
we were
people.
all waiting for. An overrated 2.5-hour movie about horny aliens with really cool 3D effects. Technology had finally become great, and all it took was whatever
Footage
this was.
completely
the industry
unrelated.
always got excited about 3D when a big film came out, but the interest would always fizzle out like one of
I don't know why 3D has gone away mostly. I thought every time I've watched a movie in 3D in the theater, it's been a good experience. And I think for the most part, the 3D's actually added something. I don't think it's gone, but I don't think that it's hyped up as much as it should be. I've enjoyed every movie more when I've watched it in 3D. The last movie I watched in 3D was in 2023, I think. Or it was early last year. I watched Puss in Boots, whichever one is the most recent installment, in 3D, and it was like really cool. And I remember specifically saying that it looked really cool after the movie. And so, I don't know. I think that movies have kind of stopped using 3D to their advantage. Like, do you guys remember whenever you'd watch 3D in the movie and there would be like a shot in the movie specifically made for the 3D audience, like in the theaters? You guys like remember that when they would obviously have someone go like just for those people? They don't do that anymore. I noticed that. I would say it's because graphics are now so good that 3D pulls down the quality. Maybe.
Rush Limbaugh's cigarettes. But this time, something was different. Avatar, for some ungodly reason, became the highest-grossing film in human history, setting landmarks for new 3D technology.
Is that 2
Godly
billion?
reason became
Oh, yes, it is.
the highest-grossing film in human history, setting landmarks
Almost
for
3
new 3D
billion.
technology and other garbage. And $2.9 billion was all it took for the industry to start putting 3D in everything. Now, let's step back from the movies
Yeah.
for a second and move back over to Nintendo. Nintendo has always loved 3D since the very beginning. They tried 3D in everything. In the 1980s, you had the Famicom 3D system, this bulky set of 3D glasses that let you play Famicom games.
That doesn't even look that bad. It actually looks pretty cool. I'd wear that outside. 3D is only really possible in cinemas, and people have just generally stopped going there. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I also think that it doesn't really hurt to add one or two things in the movie that make it more enjoyable for that audience because it still exists. And I also think that it could bring people back to the theaters, because what makes going to a theater to watch a movie different from watching it on the couch? Well, the screen's bigger, the image is better, the sound is better. It's just more sensory. And I also think that if you are going to watch it in 3D, that's more sensory, and so they should just lean in on that, right?
Games by alternating perspectives to your left and right eye with each frame, thus creating a 3D effect. In the 90s, you had the Virtual Boy that brought
which gave people seizures.
Fun of epileptic seizures to the living room. In the 2000s, Nintendo tried getting 3D technology integrated with the Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and even the Wii, but failed miserably for so many different reasons.
What is that?
All of these attempts shared one thing in common.
That's terrible.
They were cool, but they were flawed. Far too flawed to be considered a success, and the numbers show it. But finally, in 2011, Nintendo made their first 3D console in 16 years, and it just literally worked. Like, no questions asked, it just functioned properly. And it didn't do too well at first, but it ended up having a pretty good life. It died at the age of 68 from rheumatic heart disease. So why the fuck am I telling you this? Why did you just listen to some jerk-off lecture you about the 3D industry? Well, I didn't really need to tell you all that, but the reason I did is because it's important to understand what this console stands for. All the events and influence that led to this console being made and how society saw its place within the greater war of selling 3D shit to consumers. Society, man. So what does this mean for Minecraft? Well, let's get back into that.
Right.
Has Minecraft ever been in 3D?
No.
Yes, it has.
It has?
In fact, before the 3DS even came out. In the beta 1.2 update, Anaglyph 3D was thrown into Java.
Oh, that's right. In the super secret settings, you can adjust it so that you have all these options to make the game display with visuals that no one would ever use. Yeah.
So if you had them red and blue glasses, you could play in 3D.
How did that
Not
look?
anymore, though. And then later on, when the game was ported to Gear VR and the Oculus Rift,
that's technically
3D gameplay was possible and in full color this time. Not anymore, though. And even more recently, Minecraft added support for the original model PSVR.
Not anymore, though?
Soon to not be anymore, though. So let's not pretend that Minecraft has never seen 3D.
Oh, never mind. It's not even super secret settings. It's just right there.
It's never just seen straight up stereoscopic 3D on a flat screen. And that's something people were interested in seeing. So naturally, Mojang didn't do it, which was cool. They just kind of stood by as the 3D hype peaked and slowly died by 2016, just doing what they do best, making stupid decisions. And while on the topic of stupid decisions, all of what...
Well, I think that it's less to do with the 3D hype and more to do with the 3DS hype. Like, the system itself being so big because kids are going to school with it in their pocket, you know, with their parents, without their parents' knowledge. Parents are more likely to give their kids a 3DS than a phone, and if the phone is where Minecraft is getting all of its downloads, then they need to decide, well, if kids, which is our target demographic, are going to play Minecraft, it has to be on the 3DS. And they failed to do that in a time where kids were still going to be kids. Because by the time that it was on the 3DS, we had grown up. So in 2019 or 2017, I'm sorry, that's when they put it on the 3DS eventually. Dude, I'm pretty sure I was like almost done with middle school or going into high school in 2017. Or that's not true at all, actually. That's completely... No, I was almost done with middle school. I think that's right. And so, yeah, at that point, like, I fully have a phone. I have an Xbox. I have Overwatch. I'm not a kid anymore. Like, I'm playing on rated T games. I'm playing rated M games. So, like, the window was open and shut. And I think that it's not necessarily, like, a bad business move, right? In the sense that it's like they did something that people don't like. It's like they left money on the table, basically. And I think that's what's the crazy part to me, is when you know that all these kids would foam out the mouth to get this game on their 3DS for Christmas, and they just left that market unsatiated. It's a head scratcher, you know? That's kind of what I'm getting at, is it doesn't really make sense why they would do this.
What I've just told you, everything you've learned about the 3D industry, Nintendo's history with it, and how Minecraft incorporated the technology has all led you to right here, right now. September 13th, 2017. The day Microsoft's Xbox Game Studios published Mojang and Other Ocean Interactive's Minecraft for Nintendo's new 3DS systems. The day the Earth stood still. 6 months after the launch of the Switch, and 4 months after the launch of Minecraft on the Switch. Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition was launched digitally with support for 3D coming soon. Well, boys, another successful launch of an unfinished game. As the 50,000 subscriber milestone has been hit for this channel, I'd like to thank all the mental institutions around America who let their patients watch my videos. Without those ignorant nurses and caretakers, that Minecraft Apple TV video wouldn't have cracked probably 5K views. Without prolonging this any further, let's take a deep dive into one of the biggest disappointments to some of the fewest people in the history of gaming.
Yeah,
this
like
is Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition.
who actually who played this?
Let me start this off by saying I haven't felt anything in 8 months. When Minecraft 3DS Edition first came out, it was really limited. Bunch of shit missing. Look at this crap. Can you believe this? This is what I got all excited for?
So bad.
I skipped my brother's
The most bare bones, lackluster UI I've ever seen.
wedding for this. Although there's much missing here, it brings back a feeling from a more innocent, better time. There's no end, no wither, no elder guardians or ocean monuments. No point. Just play for the hell of it, I guess. Not achievements or some boss. You're just playing because. But maybe that wasn't a bad thing. Maybe this game is at its funnest when the only goals you have are the ones you set for yourself. It reminds me a lot of the early days of Xbox 360 Edition.
Right.
All it's missing is a broken home with parents fighting on Christmas. The difference between the early days of Xbox 360 Edition and the early days of 3DS Edition is that Xbox 360 Edition was developed in a time where Mojang developers were competent and worked with another company filled with developers that were also competent. And as more and more updates came out, the developers
Right.
put in place features that ensured veteran players that their old worlds could still be relevant after new updates. 3DS Edition, on the other hand,
that's
was developed by
thoughtful.
incompetent designers and programmers who have no idea how to give an ongoing game a proper life cycle or how to maintain consistent and stable builds, leaving the game in a less stable state with more bugs and glitches than it had at launch, throwing in the towel after 16 months of quote-unquote development. Incompetent developers who took Pocket Edition version 0.15.4 alpha, stuck it in a 3DS cartridge,
It was that old? Dude, how did this come out in 2017?
and all they had to do was build off of an already completed game. But still, somehow, through the magic of soulless cash grab game development, somehow managed to make a port of Minecraft, the most stable version of which is the first, which they didn't even develop. Over the course of a year and 4 months, Mojang and Other Ocean managed to deteriorate the programming of a built-in map, decay textures as random black pixels just showed up in the UI over time, never
Wait,
fixed
what?
the need
Wait, what?
decay textures as random black pixels just showed up in the
Oh, nice. Yeah, just you see these just random pixels right here. Like, how does that even happen? There's just like a visual leakage, just complete crap.
UI over time, never fixed the neon polygons and clouds or
Oh my god, it looks terrible. It actually runs better on a pregnancy test.
the glitching lighting in the skybox, never adjust the biome,
Wait,
never
wait.
fix the neon polygons
no.
and clouds or the glitching lighting in the skybox.
Bro,
Never
oh
adjust the biome
no.
scales to accommodate for smaller world sizes, leading to worlds comprised of 1 or 2 giant biomes and naturally generated structures that have less than a % chance of generating, never adjusting mob spawn rates for lower mob caps, throwing in game-breaking glitches, one of my favorites and most common being a glitch where several hotbar slots and sometimes the entire hotbar ceases to work, making old worlds completely useless and rendering
Dude, it literally is not even a working game. This is why I think there should be some law around refunds when it comes to the game's playability. If you're paying for a product that doesn't work, you should be able to get a refund. That's what I'm saying, right? And I think that for the most part, you know, if you buy a game and you're able to return it, you'll get your money back. But I think there needs to be a when you look at this game and the way that it was like released obnoxiously, egregiously late, and then it was digital only. Dude, kids don't know how to refund digital software, right? I think that's what he was saying. I mean, I think it came out on a cartridge because he had the cartridge, but I think it was digital only for upon the launch, right? Obviously, it would be great if studios made working games, but if they don't and it's a digital one and if it's made for kids, it needs to be like they get the money back auto.
bar slots, and sometimes the entire hotbar ceases to work, making old worlds completely useless and rendering them unplayable.
Because they bought a bad product. Essentially, if you're going to download something and you're paying for it and it's bad, and if it's for kids that won't know how to refund it, then it should just auto-refund, I think.
Beads and fishing rod strings that are literally 1 pixel tall and wide,
Oh,
and
nice.
so much more. And
Oh,
if
nice.
you want to throw up the excuse that they were limited with the technology, I'd like to remind you that the first release of this game, which was Pocket Edition version 0.15.
No, they're not limited with the technology. No one would say that. We just figured out this game runs on a fridge, so there's just no reason to say that it couldn't work on a gaming system. That's insane. That's absurd. Anyone who's saying that is just running cover for whoever decided that this was an acceptable way to present a game that many kids would have wanted to play on the system.
0.4 alpha was
You understand that by having this not come out until 2017, this single-handedly caused fights between 2 kids over who gets the iPad. If there's one iPad in the family of 4, you understand it's like a 1v1v1v1 over who gets control over the iPad at any given moment to play Minecraft on the fucking iPad because this wasn't on the DS. This was literally the argument. Why don't you go play on the DS that you got for Christmas? Well, it doesn't have Minecraft. Well, I don't care, give me the iPad. Like, you know, it's just like...
completely fine. Not perfect, but fine. And also, not to mention the fact that these are professional video game development studios. There is no excuse for this shit. Over 16 months, these guys withered this game and were not only more than happy to charge you $30 for it, but also more than happy to leave you with this buggy mess on January 15th, 2019, when the final update came out for it. Hope you enjoy this mess we left you. And although this game is an embarrassing example of the state of this industry's insistence...
Did you have an experience with that? No, but I know kids who did, and they would go to school the next day, and they would be upset because their parents would reprimand them for putting their hands on their younger sibling who had taken the iPad from them. That's how that would go. It was like the middle child who wanted the iPad would take the iPad, the older child would, you know, fight the younger child for the iPad, win, and then get in trouble, and the punishment he received would affect them the next day in school, and he would retaliate. He would get angry at his teachers. He would have bad grades. He went to a community college. He majored in philosophy. You know, he's just not doing too hot. He's been doing drugs, you know. He got a girl pregnant pretty early on, and it's been tough. At least in the end, he got the last laugh because the moment he found out that he was pregnant, he booted up Minecraft on the pregnancy test. It all works out. Not really, for that kid.
On pushing the barrier of how lazily you can develop games while consumers will still happily buy it. I'll be damned if they didn't manage to cram in over $50 of DLC over the course of its lifetime. I guess that really makes up for this
Did they legitimately cram $50 in DLC into this barely working mess? That is crazy.
Apart mess. But is this game really just that terrible? No, it's not, but that's only because it's Minecraft. Even if every update added a new slew of bugs that would never be fixed,
it's Minecraft.
They also added new blocks, bosses, mobs, biomes, achievements, and even multiplayer. Of course,
that's sort of the problem, where if you make Minecraft, which is a masterpiece, it will always be Minecraft at the end of the day. Even through all of the bugs, it's still one of the best games ever made, right? And so I think what we're looking at right here is worth criticizing, because I'm not going to use that as an excuse to say that what took place here is at all acceptable. Like, this is insane, and this is worth ridiculing and roasting. You know, it's Minecraft, sure, and the game itself is a masterpiece, but this is terrible.
Of course, it's still fun, albeit frustratingly lazy. I'm not telling you not to play this game, and I'm not telling you I don't enjoy this game, because it's Minecraft. I hope you heard that, Minecraft 3DS Discord. Those fuckers have shit-talked me before. But seriously, if you...
Is that a real place?
I hope you heard that, Minecraft 3DS Discord. Those fuckers have...
There's a community for Minecraft 3DS... Wait, I can't see because the title's blocking it.
Shit talk, because it's Minecraft.
Wait, let's
see. I hope you heard that, Minecraft 3DS Discord.
Look at the top left.
Those fuckers of shit.
Oh my god, it actually is Minecraft. You were able to see it. That's crazy. Join it?
Today,
well, I'm not. I haven't played it.
What is the Minecraft new Nintendo 3DS edition experience you can expect? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. If you've ever wondered what it's like to watch someone die in every way except physically, look no further. This is the final release of Minecraft, new Nintendo 3DS edition.
Nice. Okay.
I think it's fair to assume that if you're playing this game, things aren't going too well for you right now. But none of that matters, because you get to sit back and cozy up with Minecraft on a tiny 240p screen. This is what we in the computer world call a main menu. You can poke your nose around, but you're not going to find much. However, you will be able to give Steve a seizure. Very few settings. No fucking with the render distance, no button mapping, not even a place to put in the show nudity code. The game really does very little to cater to us.
How did they not add that? That was one of the crucial components that I was almost certain they would have added. That's like almost as essential to the game as mining or crafting. You know, what? Where's the nude option?
Button mapping. Not even a place to put in the show nudity code. The game really does very...
I don't understand where that is, and there's no mod where I can get AR-15. What?
Little to cater to us Harvard graduates. You of course have your manual and skins.
He's
so funny.
Skins
are locked. Well, if you're sober enough to remember one Fade to Black and about 4 poorly written jokes ago, you may recall me saying this game had over $50 of DLC. Among that DLC was a bunch of skin packs, texture packs, and one mashup pack. If that sounds interesting to you, I got bad news. The 3DS eShop fucking died. But if you got a 3DS, a computer, and about 9 minutes, you too can pirate some of the most meaningless digital content man has ever created.
Oh my goodness.
Creating a world is such a sacred...
Do not... I'd be careful with this, my boy. You got to be careful about showing the homebrew. I did homebrew my Wii U, and I know by saying that I've probably got, you know, some random person in Japan. I get it, okay? I know you're mad, but I had to do it.
eShop fucking died. But if you got a 3DS...
So, Wow, this guy's... I didn't even... Dude, I had no idea how to homebrew the 3DS. It was so hard for me.
It's a computer in about 9 minutes, you too can pirate some of the most meaningless digital content man has ever created. Creating a world is such a sacred process. It's like killing someone you love. Navigating these menus is like hell, by the way. You can either use the circle pad or D-pad and have it click from option to option. Or if you're feeling exotic, you can use the old slider on the side.
Wait, pause, my DS is hacked. I might be able to get this. I mean, why would you want to? Do you know what video we're watching? This is about how terrible the game is. This guy's like, wait, I might have the opportunity to ruin my day.
Here and get
Sign me up. I don't get it. Don't do that. If your 3DS is hacked, use it for something cool.
some of the best screen tearing technology has to offer. Creative or survival, difficulty, world size, super flat. We can only really blame ourselves as a race for this. The more you play this game, the slower it gets. I'm being serious. First of all, you can only have up to 8 worlds. That may not sound terrible, but you'll see later on why that's a major issue. No more than 8. It doesn't matter if you got a 2 terabyte micro SD card in this thing. You're not making a 9th world, just give up. All your data is stored on your micro SD card, and Christ almighty does it take long to load worlds off of it. When you first boot into a fresh world, boy does it run reasonably. But don't get used to this. It doesn't last long.
Does it
this
run
game, and I love
reasonably.
this, targets 60 frames per second.
Oh.
Yeah, it definitely does that. But in the 2 mashup worlds featured in this version, the game caps at 30 frames, because God knows it's not going a frame above 30. Even expecting 30 is hilarious. But just you wait and see.
Oh my
Keep
God.
watching and
This is 5. This is a class presentation. I'm loving the slideshow on my screen right now. If only it was able to, let's just say, run at a little bit higher than 5 FPS, then that would make the game 3 or 5 times more enticing.
experience the thrill of this game's performance getting worse and worse the more I play it.
That's gotta hurt, dude. That's like watching, someone that you used to be best friends with go down like a drug spiral. The longer you've been friends, the more you can watch him just crumble to his feet and ruin his life. And you're kind of watching the equivalent in terms of a video game. It's like watching your friend eat Taco Bell, and as the hours pass after the Taco Bell run, you can like hear his stomach getting audibly louder, and then he shits his pants, and then you smell the shit. Not to get too graphic, but it feels pretty similar.
You guys hear about this iPhone everyone's been talking about? It's got porn on it, but you gotta touch the screen to use it.
Okay.
Fuck, man. The iPhone inspired me to touch many other things, but one of them was the bottom half of this 4K scan of a 3DS with Minecraft gameplay in it. And it turns out that you can actually touch it to do things. I have dementia,
Nice.
but the first version of Minecraft Outside Pocket Edition to support the use of a touchscreen was PS Vita Edition, which I also have a video on. I suggest watching it if you still have nothing better to do after this, but touchscreen support was laughably limited. Nothing special.
looks really
no
bad.
inventory management or anything like that. The most use you'll get out of this thing is tapping on an item in the hotbar instead of using the D-pad. Cut ahead like a year and Minecraft came out for the Nintendo Scott the Woz, and once again, same shit. Barely any useful touchscreen crap. It's actually less useful here than it was on PS Vita, because at least on the Vita the screen was small so you could easily reach what you want. Here, touching the hotbar just doesn't make sense over using the
Right.
bumpers. What a
It's
swell
useless.
use of a giant touchscreen. Cut ahead once more, like 2 years, and now we're in the exact same situation.
That was
but
one of
on a
the
Nintendo Switch this
problems
time.
that the Nintendo Wii U had in general, was that the touchscreen for the controller was kind of just useless, because people would just use the controller normally as like the Xbox and PlayStation were in general. And then it was just kind of awkward because games felt like they had to do something special for the touchscreen, and they would just do things that were like useless, and then just there to like say that they did it. Just busy work.
Boy, someone at
Incorporating a feature just to incorporate a feature that nobody will use.
4J Studios is just really fucking stupid. How did this happen 3 times over the course of 4 years? You'd think they just would have accidentally done it by this point. Well, here we are again. The 4K 3DS scan is back on screen, so it's probably relevant to my next point. I said earlier that this version is built off of Pocket Edition, and as those of us with hands know, Pocket Edition featured touch controls and literally only touch controls and nothing but touch controls.
That's true.
Except once. And how about it?
Wait,
This
what is that?
and literally only touch controls and nothing
never
but
seen
touch
that.
controls. Except once.
Is that... Oh my... Whoa! Is that a gaming phone? A gaming phone, huh?
And how about it? This game features similar touch controls to the game
Who would ever buy that?
it literally is. Inventory management can of course be done with a highlighter, but it's much more convenient to just use touch controls. Unless you're shoving shit in a chest or splitting a stack, using these buttons is just slower. Makes you wonder if these versions would have actual touch controls if they were built off a version of Minecraft that already had touch controls too. I'm beginning to think that the people who work on these games are just actually lazy and do not care.
Right.
This is a new
Well,
3DS exclusive.
I mean, yeah, I'm beginning to realize that as well. I mean, like, why would they care if they're making millions of dollars and people are happy with the game itself? They're kind of allowed to get lazy with it. Like, this is sort of the problem where if you succeed, then you actually just get complacent. I mean, not to draw a comparison that's far-fetched, but if you look at a person who gets in shape, well, okay, if they're in shape now, then they might stop going to the gym because they got to where they wanted to be, and now they're not going to continue to maintain it, right? So that's sort of the problem. Like, if I get to a certain amount of views per month, maybe I stop posting. And so they've gotten enough people talking about Minecraft that they could give a fuck about doing that properly when it comes to porting it.
Exclusive, meaning you can only play it if you made enough mistakes.
And I mean,
5.5
you know,
years
makes
ago.
sense.
But you can't play it on those dinky old 3DSs, them with their inferior processing power and same everything else. But these ones got 3 more forms of input, the ZL and ZR buttons. Wow, with these I can change the highlighted item in my hotbar instead of using the D-pad, which also works if I wanted to use that instead. What do you think of that, PS Vita? You piece of shit. The C-stick, also known as that red dot on your laptop. I can use this to move the camera freely except for when I play too long and my thumb is sweaty and keeps slipping off of it. That's a problem you should be ashamed to have, by the way. Ever try to play a new 3DS exclusive on an old 3DS?
Yeah, what a waste of
It's
life.
illegal in most states. I think it's fair to believe that Minecraft in this capacity could not run on an old 3DS. Still though, the first new 3DS systems came out in Japan at the end of 2014, so
a system made in 2014 could not run Minecraft above 10 frames per second. That is a fact that to any human being who knows anything about the year 2014 and anything about Minecraft should result in some sort of disapproved response. Like, oh no, or really? Really? Yeah, really. I'm as surprised as you are. It's disturbing. And on top of it, they've made money selling it, knowing it doesn't work.
You know, this isn't something that's ever going to make sense. The general gameplay here is fine, by the way. I'm not going to pretend like the fact that this is on a tiny 3DS screen doesn't make this more fun. It just does, and we all know it. Let's not kid ourselves. The controls are fine. You can't change any of them, though. I can live
Well,
with
that's
the
why
right
everyone wanted to play it on the system, right? Yeah.
being jumped. I won't be happy with it, but I'll live. I can pretend like crunching my thumb up like this for hours at a time is completely fine. To change your perspective or crouch, you use up and down on the D-pad respectively, a button assignment borrowed from the PS Vita version since that system also doesn't have pressable joysticks. Using the circle pad to play is fine. A forgotten ritual of Minecraft is the ancient practice of sitting still while the game saves. In all console legacy titles, the game autosaves on a timer. Back in the day, we used to have to stop playing while the game saved in the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions, but at some point in March of 2014, some genius figured out that you don't need to pause the entire fucking game just to save. And from there on out, all we got was this little chest icon that meant the game was saving. Wow, how spoiled we've become. But in those console legacy games, you had the option to leave the game without saving. Wow, what a throwback. This game has a mandatory autosave every 20 minutes that fucking sucks. You see it coming. The game warns you like there's a shotgun being cocked right behind your head. It's funny because the chat that's built into the game, which you can't use by the way, can only display 3 messages max at a time. And then the saving. Good God, the saving. It takes like half a fucking minute to save, as opposed to this. That may sound like the most first world problem in existence, which it is, but you just gotta play this and feel the pain I felt. This is honestly the one thing I'd believe the devs couldn't optimize any further, but it's still just the worst. And you can't turn off autosave. That was probably the right decision by the devs though, considering how unstable this game is. It's not too rare for this game to just freeze or flat out
Nice.
crash.
Oh no. What is
Considering how
that?
unstable this game is. It's not too rare for this game to just freeze or flat out crash.
It just doesn't work. I mean, this is like, the game just doesn't fucking work. How is that possible? Were they getting these, I'm gonna say it, bro, were they getting these errors on the fridge?
Nothing feels better than losing hours of progress in a video game that means nothing. Maybe you've noticed, but this game's render distance sucks a mighty fine cock. It reminds me of the tiny render distance setting in Minecraft Classic for browsers. Disgusting. This map here is going to be your best friend. This is how you're going to know where the fuck you are. You're not going to find your way by looking forward, as dumb as that sounds. You're not going to be able to fucking see any of it. Bless this map. And by the way, this map. Earlier I said that the map just got destroyed with each update. This is what I meant. Going from the launch version of the map where it just functions as a map to the final version map, you can't help but wonder what line of code was changed that just destroyed it. As you fill out the map, there's these weird 1 pixel wide streaks, and the map always fills in really thin bars and won't fully fill in unless you just jump around in a circle or spin in place. You gotta like walk over
So when they tried to update the game, they just made it infinitely worse.
the same spot repeatedly to truly fill it in. It can just look so terrible sometimes. Like, what the fuck did they do? How does this even break just enough so that it still functions, but doesn't work completely correctly? What the hell was going on in this code? And if that isn't putrid enough, let's have another look at this wonderful piece of expert programming from professional video game developers at a professional video game studio led by professional video game directors, probably with 6-digit salaries. You would assume that the world can be evenly and completely filled out on your bottom map. But of course, the world is too big to fit on one map. So whenever you walk off the map, a new map for that portion of the world replaces the old one. Okay, right? Well, the only map you can see is the one of the current portion of map you're in. You can't scroll around to other maps. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that negate like 50% of the fucking point of maps? You know, like the aspect of knowing where in the world you fucking are.
Well, I just don't see, like, oh my, it's just like, so why even include it if it doesn't work? I don't, like...
Just forget the point of having this here. So I can know where I currently am, but not where I currently am not.
Yeah.
So glad I have some way to confirm that, yes, I am at the moment here. But if I go all the way over here and walk off the map, where will I be? Guess I'll just have to spend 8 minutes walking there and find out. And the edge of the world.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. It's pretty bad.
Oh my god, the edge of the world. You would think this game was programmed by fish. You would assume that the edges of the world coincide with the edges of the maps touching them, right? You know, so that maybe this edge here may also be where the world ends? Oh my god, does it not? You think we even know how to do that? We barely ported an APK to a 3DS. No, there's just a gigantic black void that can never be fully filled in.
Oh my god.
And to make things even better, it's uneven at all 4 sides of the world. And no. To make things even better than that, sometimes the edge of a world will be off the map, but a new map won't exist, so you're just walking outside of what's visible and guessing where you are. And then you end up finding the edge of the world, but since it's off the map, there's nothing to fill in. Not that you could fill it in anyway, because it's the end of the fucking world. It's the little things like that that let you know that nobody working on this game cared enough to do something about this. This is not okay. This is not how you program a map. I love this one. The craft...
Jesus, dude, what a disaster. So basically, if you're trying to understand where something is in relation to you, you literally have to like just make guesses. You have to just you have to essentially guess and fill in the blanks, when the reality is people don't have that inferencing skills if they're like 5 to 15 years old, and maybe if you're 15 years old. But if you're 10 years old and playing Minecraft on the 3DS, you don't have the ability to do that stuff. Like, the map is kind of there a little bit to give you a helping hand.
About this.
And it's not doing a good job. The helping hand is a hand that has been bit by a raccoon with rabies.
This is not okay. This is not how you program a map. I love this one. The crafting menu, right? So you press the A button to craft the item you're highlighting.
That makes sense.
But your highlighter never moves. So when whatever you're crafting becomes no longer craftable, instead of your highlighter following that item to the grayed out portion of the menu, it just stays in the same spot it's been at. So if you're spamming the A button to craft a bunch of something, you better pay attention or you're gonna end up crafting a bunch of something you don't need. That may sound like a petty complaint, but it is just at its absolute best when the items in front of whatever you're crafting use the same materials as the item you're crafting. So every few taps of the A button, something in front of it becomes no longer craftable, and you have to remove your highlighter back to the item you actually want to craft. This can happen multiple times while crafting something.
So what does that look like?
How do you even hire people who program video games like this? What the fuck is happening to this industry? Why are we pretending like this is okay? Us pretending that this is acceptable is why it's happening. I love graphical glitches. I especially like the ones that don't even make any fucking sense. Like, make so little sense that it's like, how does code even compile in a way that leads to this? Sometimes on certain elements of the UI, there will just be random black pixels for no reason. And this didn't happen in the original release. At some point down the line, something happened and now there's just random black pixels in random spots for no reason at arbitrary times. Sometimes a single polygon of a cloud will just be a random color.
Love that.
Like just straight up neon orange sometimes. This one was always in the game.
Does it ever go away or
1 year and 4 months, nobody at Other Ocean, Mojang, or Microsoft could figure out how to not let cloud polygons turn random colors. The sky often glitches. In between day and night, the color of the gradient in the skybox is based off the direction you're facing, and they fucked up something because the threshold of turn to skybox color is just not correct. I'm just going to show you footage of what I'm talking about instead of trying to explain it. And sometimes there's Z-fighting in the skybox, which I don't even know how that's possible. I also am a big fan of lighting glitches. This game has different distances for what is currently being rendered, and obviously like 99% of the blocks always render within the full render distance, but for some reason glass isn't included in that pool. So when you're walking towards a structure with glass, or maybe a structure that just happens to be high up, there's just nothing, and you have to be weirdly close for the glass to render.
Dude, that defeats the whole purpose of putting glass as a window for your building. If you want to use a window that's as long as it is here, part of the reason you do that is for the aesthetic. And if the aesthetic is just glitched out of the game, then there's just no point at all. Like literally 0 point at all. This is terrible.
Like a chunk away close. It's bizarre. Let's talk about biome scale. When some numbnut spews out trivia about this game, the one you often hear is that the large size of a world in this game is larger than the world size in a lot of console versions of this game. The 3DS's large world size is 2016 by 2016. Xbox 360, PS3, and PS Vita all have one world size, 864 by 864. And the Wii U edition has 3 sizes, the largest of them also being 864 by 864. So it's crazy to think that
these honestly are just Minecraft Pocket Edition glitches, and this version obviously never had been patched. Yeah, and that's the problem. What he was saying when he's saying that they get away with it because we let them is exactly true. And I think part of the problem is that maybe they just released it so late that they got in late enough to where they would still make some money on it, but they also were late enough to where people would not care enough to criticize it, right? So they got at that level where basically it's like, all right, it's pretty late. We're not going to get that many sales, but we'll still make some money. But it's also so late that, like, for the people that we did make money off of, basically fuck them because, you know, we don't care enough. We've gotten away with enough, right? No one who played on it just didn't care, though. I think the problem is that the new Nintendo 3DS version was going to never get updates from the start, or that they kind of knew that they were going to give up on it pretty early on. Because why would they give it TLC when the Switch version's out, right? Doesn't really make sense. It's kind of just like having a kid that you know you're going to put up for adoption when he's 4 years old. It's like so dumb. It's like, okay, we're going to make a kid, raise him till the age of 4, then put him up for adoption. So that way we learn enough parenting skills to have this new kid that we're about to make. So that's basically the kid who got put up for adoption is the 3DS, and then the one who's going to get made is the Nintendo Switch one. That's essentially what had happened. I have to say, I'm still shocked that there's a literal Discord server for the new Nintendo 3DS version of Minecraft. That's a good analogy, actually. Well, it's, you know, kind of my job. But it's crazy. I don't know why, if you're in a Discord server, you just don't play the version of it for computer because you're using Discord on your computer. So just play Minecraft on your computer. And don't give me some shit about, oh, it's not good enough. And my 3DS is like, dude, there's just no way. There's literally no way. Like, it's going to run better than this shit.
Guys could only do 864 by 864, while this dinky 3DS can pull off 2016.
Sorry, bud, you're obsolete now. Kid 2.0 will be better.
By 2016. And while, yeah, I guess it is, the difference is these versions, for the most part, were programmed by people with common sense. This game was not. When you take a version of Minecraft where the default world size is infinite by infinite and limit it to 2016 by 2016, you need to adjust certain things, right? You need to make sure that when limiting infinite by infinite to 2016 by 2016, that biomes and naturally generated structures are adjusted to accommodate for the limited space. And what happens if you don't do that? Well, you get worlds that are 2 biomes and have nothing in them. Enjoy. Yeah, when you create a new world, there is a truly great chance that you will get unlucky and have like 3 or 4 biomes at most in your entire world and not have a single village or ocean monument or anything else interesting. What often happens is you get these massive biomes for miles and miles and fucking miles because biome scale was never adjusted for this game. So because of the limited world size, the odds of any of your favorite structures popping up become fractions of fractions. The world you'll see the majority of footage from throughout this video had a grand total of 7 biomes, 5 of which were grass and tree biomes.
Ew,
the 2 others
no deserts?
being a mountain and the ocean. The world also had a grand total of 0 villages and 1 above ground structure. Thank you, programmers. And this is not to say, by the way, that you're never going to get content. There's going to be nothing in it. My world is definitely one of the more unlucky cases, but of all the survival worlds I've made in this game, which is many, there's a very noticeable lack of structures and biome variety.
So, like,
and
content,
yes,
basically.
I'm sure your world has 40 villages, 9 ocean monuments, 8 woodland mansions, 16 desert temples, 22 witch huts, 5 jungle temples, every single biome in the game, and my mom's phone number.
I did it while blindfolded and upside down and dead inside. My dog just died. And I'm epic, and, cool.
That doesn't mean that what I'm explaining in detail right now isn't a real issue with this game. please flee back to Reddit. Certainly you can sometimes spawn into
I
some
agree
luck,
with that.
but much more often than not, you won't. And speaking of not accommodating for things, how about that mob cap? Lower the mob cap, but don't change the spawn percentages. It makes you wonder if anyone programming this was actually playing the game. For those of you familiar with the 2009 video game Minecraft, you may be aware that to reach the final boss of the game, you have to kill mobs called Endermen, collect Ender Pearls, and use them to activate an end
I've
portal
heard of
once you
it.
find one. If you didn't know that, you may be watching the wrong video. I'll put a link to content you might prefer watching right now in an iCard up top.
Hey, it's Stu. I'm in our fish department in Norwalk right now. We're in the middle of a big lobster sale. One of the
What?
Anyone programming this was actually playing the game. For the boss of the content you might prefer watching right now in an iCard up top. Either that or this was next on your autoplay and your hands have been dirty for the past 20 minutes. The spawn
Okay,
rates for
that's
Endermen on their
crazy.
own is lower than most other mobs, so back up and look at Pocket Edition version 0.15.4 alpha, which this game was built off of. A maximum of 70 hostile mobs could be loaded in at any given time across all loaded in chunks. Come the
Right.
3DS, a maximum of 24 hostile mobs could be loaded in at any given time across all chunks. God, so let's not adjust those spawn rates, and congratulations, you have one of the biggest fucking nightmares this franchise has
Let's
ever had to offer.
go.
In my entire time playing
So
in the
there's just
survival
way
world
too
you're
many
seeing right now,
mobs?
I saw a total of, and I swear to God, I saw a total of 4 Endermen before going to the end, and I have over 60 hours of footage.
Or there's
in this
not
world.
enough mobs.
Here's the 4 that I saw. I'm not shitting you. Thank God for looting 3, stronghold chests, and villager trading. Now,
Okay.
having complained for an extent of time
Right,
I could have
that makes
spent killing
sense.
myself, I can only whine about general things so much, but there's just so many more little things
That's
the world
fair.
needs to know about. I can tell you what it's like to play this game. There's a bunch of other jerk-offs too who could tell you what it's like to play this game, but I want to tell you what it's really like to play this game. Not just pick it up and put it down, but full-on play Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition, from
Oh
boot
boy.
up to credits.
All
Everything.
right,
All
let's hear it.
59 achievements, every death, win, surprise, and nightmare. And if you're willing to stick around for the journey, I think you'll get actually nothing out of this, but you should watch it anyway.
Nice.
Please join me as I put to use the 206 gigabytes of footage I've been gathering over the past 4 months
All
and
right,
slowly learn the
I'm
true
ready.
meaning of dead.
You know what? When it comes to something like this, normally I would say, I have things to do, but I don't. And this is for some reason interesting to me. And if you're watching it right now, you're no better. So yes, you are going to watch, and you're going to be beside me. And you are going to subscribe to Bearman3600 to get him to 100k subs, and you're going to say that Acheeto sent you.
Inside. This is your fault, by the way. That 50,000 number, you did this. I'm blaming you for this. Thanks a lot, asshole. Now I gotta play this shit. But before I offend the 4 of you who are real people and not bots I paid to watch this so I never have to get a real job, let's explore the good, the bad, and the slightly even
I
more
like
bad
that.
of everyone's favorite industry regurgitate, Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition. 59. That's how many achievements it takes to get 59 achievements. I'm happy to report that as of the last update for this game, all the achievements work and can actually be gotten. What a luxury. I'm looking at you, other version of Minecraft.
Apple TV.
Notes. Because of the not biome scale and mob rate optimization I just talked about, there's a handful of these that are just an absolute nightmare to get. For a few of them, you're going to be looking up seeds on GameFAQs and wasting your time in many other ways. Okay, well, actually, don't take notes. But obviously, there's a few basic achievements we can just knock
Dude,
out
this
from the
guy's
start.
fucking
like
hilarious.
Taking inventory, getting wood,
That's
benchmaking,
fair.
time to mine, getting an
Yep.
upgrade, time
Yep.
to strike, cow
Yep.
tipper, monster hunter, hot topic. Within 5 minutes, you can knock out like 9 or 10 of these. Not that this is like news or something. I mean, it's the same spiel in like any other version. But you know what is shocking?
been like this for a
comment
while.
I received on a video 5 months ago. Why did you have a boner? Another easy achievement. This comment I received.
I get comments like this too, and it's disturbing that people decide to write this with their thumbs and their knowledge of the English language. And it doesn't make it any better that it is that it's ironic, you know? It's still like, you know, you did choose to use your free will to produce this. So, yeah. Anyone talking about, like, you know, we goon to Acheeto every night, and it's like, what the new formula is, it's like all of us, and I mean all of us on our soul, we've gooned to Acheeto before, and it's some shit like that, and it just needs to be stopped.
Received on a video 5 months ago. Why did you have a boner? Another easy achievement is saddle up, because you literally just have to tame a horse. You don't need a saddle, don't need horse armor or anything, just straight up sit on a horse until it loves you. An
Nice.
enticing challenge. Sitting on something until hearts come out of it. Sounds like something Chris Christie would accidentally do. Another simple one. Acquire
Wow.
hardware. Just smelt an ingot. And you might as well throw a pork chop in while you're wasting coal. Great way to impress your friends. Something about mining in this game makes me feel the following emotions. I don't actually know what I mean by that. I wrote this portion of the script while on a bender. But when you're going around, you get like this holy shit moment. Like, holy shit, there's a giant orange hole in the world.
Nice.
Then you walk forward and it was just a chunk that wouldn't load in. It's so weird to just be in the dark for so long and then you just see a bright skybox. Then you'll be going around and see these floating orange or blue pixels. Like there's some texture shit going on here, but why would it even be happening? Why can I see through the world but only these spots in particular? They're poking holes in reality. But while you're down here, you can knock out another achievement. Iron Man. All the fun of being Robert Downey Jr., minus the really expensive drugs. With this armor, I can now comfortably stand next to something that would kill me anyway, and confidently mine blue things. With these blue things, I can now make a blue pickaxe.
Yes.
And with this blue pickaxe, I can now collect black hard stuff. And with black hard stuff, I can start a campsite. And also make another portal. Things may seem like they're moving along fast, and that's because they are, but I'm also not wasting any time here. At this point, I'm about 3 hours in and getting done what can be done. But believe me, the further in we get, the more ass pain that will be divided unevenly between each feeling ill and lion tamer. What are your thoughts on hitboxes? Do you hate them as much as I do? Don't you just wish we could live in a world where collision is just a suggestion? I'm gonna blow my brains out. I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to be aiming for, but it died eventually, and that's something we can all look forward to.
All right.
While we're here in the Nether, I'd like to let you know that you better pray to God there's a Nether fortress in here somewhere, because if not, guess who's been wasting their time for 4 hours? You can't reset the Nether. If no fortress,
Wait.
then boo-hoo. Start a new world and cross your fingers again.
What?
Redo everything you
So there's just like literally none?
just did and continue from there. I'd also like to throw in that games
So there's just like a chance that you can't even complete the game.
crash. Games be doing that sometimes. This game is no stranger. Don't take this long-ass autosave for granted. A lot can happen in 20 minutes. Craft a notch apple. Back when you could do that. That requires a grand total of 72 gold ingots. Back to this for a while. And then when you finally get it done, as a bonus, your game freezes. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have Iron Belly.
That's the real
Stop
achievement.
starvation with rotten flesh. I've never done this one by accident. I always end up just running in a circle like a jackass until I starve myself. If a watched pot never boils, Steve Minecraft never starts dying of starvation when you want him to. Fish is delicious. Fish with a fishing rod. Once the fish you're fishing for is fished, put the fish in a furnace to get cooked fish. You take the cooked fish and eat it, and that's how you get delicious fish. This one's just to get you to waste iron, I swear to God. Smelt everything. Connect 3 chests to a furnace using 3 hoppers. A lot of the problem with these redstone things is since the simulation distance is so low, you gotta be close to everything for it to work. If you had some redstone contraption that's spread over probably 5 or more chunks, shit's not gonna work. Like, this dispenser isn't gonna do much unless you can see it. It's not gonna mean much beyond the fog.
That's true.
Still means an achievement though. The simulation distance becomes a bit.
I think the first 20 so far make perfect sense, and you'd be able to bang them out. The problem though is like the Nether is, from what I'm understanding, completely a 50-50 on whether or not you get a Nether that gives you a Nether fortress, and I feel like that's kind of like one of the most important parts, like a big deal.
Bigger issue later on. You'll see. If you feel like going out to explore the world, be sure to get the Have a Cheerful Day achievement before you go, because I couldn't find a good relevant spot in the video to talk about this one. You know what achievement's missing from this game? Leader of the Pack. I don't know why this achievement was left out. Tame 5 wolves. Lion Tamer is in this game, not Leader of the Pack though. I wonder what happened there. Did they accidentally leave this one out, or did they accidentally put this one in? I feel like if you find a dog while exploring and are taking a boat, something bad is required to happen and he's not making it home with you. I'd like to comment on this game's terrible render distance for a moment because it's relevant to 2 of the achievements. If you try to look up what the render distance of this game is set to, the most common answer you'll get is 6 chunks. I don't believe for a second that this is rendering 6 chunks. Everywhere that makes this claim backs it with literally nothing, which leads me to believe that someone pulled that number out of their ass and took a guess and everyone else just went along with it. I'd like to see one line of code inside this game that's telling these people that it's rendering 6 chunks.
What on earth? What language is this? That almost looks like the R slur right there. Dude, I don't understand. How is it going to have the pixels show up for the furnace and all the other textures, but the text it's not? That's how you end up accidentally having a slur on your screen.
What is a chunk? A chunk is a 16 by 16 cube, but for the sake of making this easier to understand, let's just say that for every 16 blocks you can see ahead of you, that's 1 chunk. 6 chunks would suggest that there are 6 entire sets of 16 blocks that you can see rendered in front of you. In other words, this bullshit claim that the render distance is 6 chunks means that I can see 96 fucking blocks ahead of me, which couldn't be any more ridiculous. I'd love to meet the genius who decided this game's render distance must be 6 chunks. I've got a few bats
That's
I'd love to
unplayable.
introduce to his ribs. I saw one other person
That makes
online
it
comment on the render distance claiming it's 6
Have you already bought the game? If you haven't, I really suggest you do not buy it. Okay, so it's only available in the new models, which is weird. The frame rate is terrible. He says, okay, it's terrible. The render distance is tiny. And then, so where does he talk about the chunks? Yeah, the chunks. Let's get into
64
that.
blocks, which would be 4 chunks. And that sounds more believable, so I did my own test.
4
I built a
chunks.
pillar, walked backwards until I couldn't see it, and counted. And wouldn't you know it, it was not 96 fucking blocks.
Oh.
There's 2 different numbers to take into account. How far you can see with the fog, and how far you can see without it. Every version of Minecraft has fog, so you won't see the chunks pop in
Can't you
and
turn
out.
it off,
And with
though?
that fog, you get a lovely 48 blocks of distance.
That's terrible.
By angling your camera weirdly, you can see more than you can looking straight forward for some reason. And if you count from there, you get 64 blocks.
That's
if you
good.
turn off the fog by going into the end,
You can do that.
because the devs forgot to turn the fog back on when you return to the overworld.
Okay,
you get
well,
a
can't
much
you
more
also
clear
turn it
view of
off?
the chunk unloading as soon as you move beyond the 64th block. So, to whoever made the claim that this game has a render distance of 6 chunks, I'd love to see the ass you pulled that out of. The correct answer is 4 chunks, or more realistically, 3 chunks with 1 chunk of fog. But at any given time, the maximum the game will ever render directly in front of you is 60.
Yeah, that's just like more false advertising, right? So basically, if you're going to say all of these things, basically the point that I'm trying to make is that this is just more false advertising, right? So like, no, a lot of times, like you'll lie if you don't think you'll get checked on it, right? Like I can say something that I don't believe because I don't think people will actually check me on it. Like if I say something that I know is unverifiable, people will just kind of take me at my word for it. And so I think that Nintendo or the Minecraft developers were able to basically just say something that they knew they wouldn't check. And I also think that's prevalent with a kid's game as well. Like how are you going to be a kid and then you're going to do the fucking the field testing? Like that's just not what you're going to do. No, I was talking about the fog. Yeah, you can turn it down. Well, I don't even know if you can do that in this version. Like a lot of the versions of Minecraft that are on consoles are just, they have one graphical preset and that's just all it is. And then it kind of decides, like it optimizes live. It goes from performance to visuals prioritized, right? It kind of just switches. And so with this one, I don't know if players had the ability to turn down the fog.
To see the ass you pulled that out of. The correct answer.
He was able to turn off the fog by leaving the end, basically, but I don't know if there's a setting for it.
Claim that this game has a render distance of 6 chunks. I'd love to see the ass you pulled that out of. The correct answer is 4 chunks, or more realistically, 3 chunks with 1 chunk of fog. But at any given time, the maximum the game will ever render directly in front of you is 64 blocks straight ahead. So now that we figured that out, let me introduce you to one of the worst achievements in this game. Sniper Duel. Sniper Duel is a simple challenge in most versions. Kill a skeleton with an arrow from 50 meters away, 1 meter being 1 block. Well, okay, tell me how in God's fucking name I'm supposed to kill a skeleton 50 meters away when I can only see 48 blocks in front of me. Well, fret not, brain damage viewers.
What?
In this game, the achievement was changed to only 40 meters because of the Pee-wee style render distance.
Oh,
but
nice.
even with that, you have to kill a skeleton 8 blocks in front of the farthest thing you can see on a 240p
How is that
screen.
possible?
Yeah, let's just keep that in mind also. This is a 240p screen. How perfect of a scenario are you going to be in where you can get a skeleton's health down low enough so that he's one tap, keep track of him and stay on flat enough
Oh,
ground,
no.
and then shoot him with an arrow on a 240p
So you can't
screen
even
at night,
100%
40
the
blocks
game.
away.
It's
The
not
answer
possible.
Is you're not. So you find a skeleton, dig a hole, nerd pull directly above him, and then just spam arrows until you see the achievement pop up. If you build up too high though, the skeleton will just unload or your arrows won't have an effect in the chunk it's in. It's absurd. But if you think that's absurd, oh boy, just sit tight.
He
You're
got
not gonna
it.
believe what happens 25 achievements from now. It's gonna be a lot more difficult than making
Okay.
charcoal with wood. Yeah. Enchanting feels
Nice.
more important in this version than others. Not for any intentional gameplay reasons, but because you never know when the frame rate's gonna drop and you're gonna get your shit rocked by the low frame rate fairy. That guy's a dick. And what better way to celebrate not having an enchanting table yet than by dedicating a space to it despite it not existing yet? Decorate it with bookshelves, but you need books for that, and you need paper for that, and you need sugarcane for that, and you need nothing further than that. You better be close to that sugarcane wherever you plant it, because if your house is too big and you walk away from that chunk, boy oh boy will nothing grow. Just use bone meal.
Is that
I don't have
true?
the fucking time for this. And then bookshelf. Wow, such a highlight of my day. And then on top of that, wow, how about it? This day just couldn't be more mediocre. Like a blessing from God or whoever the hell is responsible for me playing this. These people, these quote-unquote people.
Chris
Making a
Larkin.
farm in this game feels really...
Shout out
time
Chris
to farm, by the
Larkin.
way. Feels really pointless because of that simulation distance I was just talking about 40 seconds ago. Maybe if I had a better source of food, like the kind where I kill things for their meat, I would have less of a reason to complain about this. Also, none of this matters in the slightest, like in general. I always thought this achievement could have been a Breaking Bad reference, but instead it's just called Bake Bread. Like, why? Bake Bread.
'Cause
Like
you're
the dumbest name they
'cause
could have gone with. You guys ever go for
Break
that one
Bread,
achievement,
maybe.
leave
That's
the end
the
and start
joke?
the credits? You know, that one where you leave the end and start
the credits.
Bake Bread. I'd love to meet the plain bagel that named this one.
Yeah.
What a joke. But you know what isn't a joke?
I think it's break
9/11.
bread.
Mobs that have
Oh.
to be crafted with blocks always have some kind of issue with
Okay.
existing. Like, they can never
Interesting.
just fucking exist. I feel like
kinda-
this is the case
it's
in
kinda
every
sad.
version, but this game has got to have the worst case of I refuse to exist syndrome. Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong here? What are the lines of code deciding this? This actually took so much time to try and figure out
I
that
don't
I just
understand.
left. Like, I just gave up. Came back like 40 minutes later and then it worked. I'd like to be confused and rant about this, but honestly, I stopped feeling anything
What?
9 achievements ago. These aren't even
Right.
gratifying anymore. It's like a gunshot after getting your lungs stabbed. There's
Right.
like 30 more of these. I'm gonna take this opportunity to talk about Portal because the achievement The Lie is a Portal reference. You guys ever play Portal? Remember when
have.
they made that RTX version and people were getting pissed because the red buttons were see-through or some dumb shit like that? That's all I had to say. Thanks for listening. Maybe things will be easier from here on out. Fat chance. The Nether is the best place to get fucked by the low frame rate fairy. You get set on fire somehow and then killed by something
The
you
low
can't
frame
find.
rate
If
fairy
you want
strikes.
potion-
And it also is, again, because you're going to get literally nothing done in the fucking Nether to begin with besides lag to death. So you just enter there to enjoy the experience of not being able to complete the game and not being able to even play the game. So you're not able to complete it because you can't play it, but if you could play it, you wouldn't be able to complete it because it's not even finished. So essentially, no matter what you do, you're fucked. If you are able to play it, you can't complete it. And if you aren't able to complete it, well, it doesn't really matter because you couldn't play it anyway. So basically, it's just nonstop fuckage from every single angle. I also don't understand that, like, when you're in the Nether in a version like that, I think you really need to just strip the Nether down to kind of bare bones, because like some people, you know, they enjoy the Nether from like an exploration standpoint because of the tension and the risk of like falling in lava. But I think with that, with when you're doing it on a pea-sized Nintendo 3DS, you need to kind of remove it for just its purpose that it has in completing the game, which is to get a Nether fortress.
Maybe things will be easier from here on out. Fat chance. The Nether is the best place to get fucked by the low frame rate fairy because you get set on fire somehow and then killed by something you can't find. If you want potions, which you're gonna need, you need blaze rods.
I like Java Edition more, obviously.
If you want blaze rods, you gotta stand still in a fortress and wait for blaze to spawn in your chunk. That's the name of the game. You don't need blaze powder to brew, so you can save all your rods for whatever crap you like doing with rods. Speaking of doing things with rods, another way this game fucks you is by making me start a new world so I can get like 4 achievements. For rabbit season, you gotta find a rabbit, kill it, cook it, eat it. Just like the Donner Party, except it's food and not your dead parents. And unlike the Donner Party, cows can be bred with wheat for an achievement in Minecraft. The
Okay,
worst part about
nice.
trying to kill
That's
yourself
a bit
by jumping
different.
into lava is when before you do so, you drink the one thing that prevents you from
Bedrock
killing
is
yourself
also
by jumping
cancer.
into lava.
Why would you ever
Swimming
play
around
it?
at the bottom of the Nether is such a joke because you really just can't see jack shit. At the very least, I can look forward to being dead someday. Wandering the world and finding a structure is always exciting. I've always loved how woodland mansions can never generate in a way that isn't hilarious. And then you're in a forest, so leaves just clip through the walls. But woodland mansions are always fun to run around in. You find the evoker and kill that prick, and then you've unlocked feeling ill. I feel like I unlocked that achievement a long time ago. And of course, you get your Totem of Undying, which acts differently in this game than it does in any other version of Minecraft. In general, you would put the totem in your offhand, and then when you die, you get a second chance at life, unlike the Donner Party. But in this game, since there's no offhand, as long as the totem is somewhere in your
Okay.
hotbar, it'll still revive you. This version is the only one to have Totems of Undying, but not have the offhand. It also still uses the old texture. Bucket in Furnace. Achievement. Lava. You don't even need to use the bucket of lava.
Just
you just have
make
to put
it.
it in the furnace.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's the challenge? What the fuck was the challenge?
I don't
Move
know.
an
What did you achieve?
item? God, I
That requires a lot of skill, I guess. But if that requires this, if you get the same reward for doing that as you did for the skeleton one, that really just shows why communism doesn't work, I think, right? Because you're essentially getting the same reward for not doing the same thing. And that's a problem. It just is communism. I'm joking. It's fucking crazy, though. You should unlock DLC for just accomplishing the skeleton one.
think I might need a few minutes after that. I feel like I just beat Dark Souls. What a joke of an achievement. This next one blows if you don't got a swamp in your world. Even if you do have a swamp though, it still sucks, but at least then you have the opportunity to suffer. Inception. Push a piston, move it, then put it back or some shit like that, I don't know. The real challenge here is figuring out what the fuck this means. Push a piston with a piston, then pull the original piston with that piston. You need a regular piston
What does
and a
that
sticky
mean?
piston for
I
this
don't know
one.
what that
And you
means.
need a slime ball for
Oh,
the sticky
okay,
piston.
right. You have
So
to
you
pull
find a
it.
swamp and watch those unoptimized spawn rates do their job. Stand still until a slime comes into existence. I'm serious, just wait. It'll happen eventually. At some point. It's so gonna happen soon. After 55, and I'm serious, 55 minutes a slime showed up, and I could do the
Wow.
achievement. It's stuff like that that makes you not want to beat this game. If you think you'll just come across a slime in a cave, you're not.
That sounds
I mean,
like
you might, but you're
complete
not. Not unless a
Waste of
commenter lets me
time.
know that they just can't stop slimes from
I mean, like, I guess in the 55 minutes you could just, like, AFK, it's kind of like you're just farming the RNG. I guess in the 55 minutes you could do something else with your life. You could also do that with the hours you put into the game before the 55 minutes, because I think you standing there and waiting for the slime to enter your field of vision is not really less pointless than playing the game to begin with.
spawning in their world, and I just don't know what I'm talking about. You dumb fucking Redditor. I finally figured out a use for those 3 hoppers I wasted iron on earlier for that smelt everything achievement. I can use them to get the freight station achievement instead. Ah, that's why they had me make them.
What?
Yeah. If you get screwed and don't have a single village in your world, you may not have any villagers, but you'll always have the dead ones. And the dead ones can be coerced into not being dead via
Zombie
a weakness
doctor.
potion and a golden apple. Ah, the age-old remedy. Now you get to live in my walls. And part of living in my walls is selling me paper and clocks. And after a while, maybe enough emeralds go back and forth to net me an achievement. Such a good use of resources. I can't wait to go to my storage room and dump a bunch of paper and clocks in a random chest that'll never open again. If you happen to revive a cartographer, you have the chance to get an explorer map. Since you can't hold a map, as long as the explorer map is in your hotbar, an icon pinpointing the structure will stay on your map regardless of where in the world you are. While back on the topic of maps,
Interesting.
obviously there is no
Well-
regular map item in this game since you have it permanently on your bottom screen. Because of this, there
And
is
it-
no map in the creative menu.
And it's, well, that's, okay, so I understand that the map itself doesn't work, but you can at least still have it as an item, right?
You can't put maps in item frames, and maps don't appear in dungeons.
Why?
Well, at least they're not supposed to. Sometimes the game just finds a way to tiptoe around the mile-wide crevice that is this game's tight and secure programming, and you'll just find a map anyway because they fucked up
What?
and left it in the game. It does nothing
So it's not supposed to exist because it's basically null, but it does.
and doesn't work, if you're wondering. That's honestly impressive. At least with the things that are
Nice.
missing, you can easily just assume they were lazy or didn't want to bother. But with this, I mean, it's like genuinely amazing. Instead of adding something to the game, they just had to take something out, and they couldn't even do that right. They even found a way to fuck up removing content from the game. On a Rail feels like one of those achievements that's specific.
You just have to delete it, and they couldn't do that. That's crazy. They were just like, here's a mess. Welcome. Have fun with it.
Designed to waste your time. This is the one you start working on, and you're just there like, wow, I could get a job right now. Like, it's just a complete waste of my time, but I'll do it anyway, despite this being cartoonishly ridiculous. And you never know if you hit 500 meters. You feel like you totally did, but you just gotta go a little bit further. If I was fortunate enough to have an ocean monument in this world, Freediver would be more interesting to get, but I don't, so I get to sit here for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Stay underwater for 2
Yep,
minutes.
2
Wow.
minutes.
It's
Two
better than the
fun
55 minutes.
Doesn't get much better than this. Here's a decent achievement.
That's fun.
Overkill. For this one, you definitely gotta enchant a sword, and you're gonna need to make a strength potion. Take it, and hopefully your sword does enough damage. If not, then you just wasted a bunch of time, but you'll probably be used to that by now. You really gotta think ahead if you don't want to be stuck doing this forever. As soon as you get a brewing stand, you'll want to make a potion of poison and just carry it around all the time, because the second you see a witch, you gotta take your opportunity. I played in this specific world for over 35 hours, and this was the only witch I saw. I think the most reliable way to find a saddle in a world is in a nether fortress. Usually there's chests at every other corner, and they all got horse armor and saddles in them. But if you're lucky, none of them will have any saddles in them. So instead of mining until you fall into a monster room, you're gonna sit down and fish. And fish. And fish.
I
And when
love
you
doing
get it,
this.
All
It's
you gotta
so
do now
fun.
is make a carrot on a stick. Oh.
Oh
carrot.
no, that's
Where
you
the
didn't-
fuck am I getting
oh,
a carrot?
No.
Probably not from the villages that don't
Oh no.
exist. Or the desert temples that don't
How do you get a carrot
exist.
then?
Or the monster rooms that don't exist.
Don't exist.
So you kill zombies until one drops a carrot. Thank
How
God
rare is
zombies
that?
drop carrots for some reason. Classic zombie trait. You find a
Right.
pig and hurt it. That's the achievement. Hurt a pig, but do it in this convoluted, crazy, fucked up way. This
Right.
is like, how dumb can we make the player feel? How can we get people to realize they're doing nothing with themselves? I think, just maybe, I can't stand playing this anymore. I'm about to make a new world for our next achievement, so before I do, let's take a nice little break for a moment.
All right. I'm
Hi,
ready. Let's take a
I'm
break.
Bearman with 4 numbers. Welcome back, 45,000 other people who only subscribe for the Minecraft shit. It's nice to see you again. This segment I'm making up right now is called Voice of the Viewer. It's where I take screenshots of things I've seen viewers say and give you my thoughts on their words. AIATNXFLP554 from Rhode Island says, "Can't wait for Minecraft Frank Ocean Cockring Edition." I don't actually know
What?
where they're from, I'm just making that part up. Yeah, I heard that one's on its way. Drenched in Syrup 6059 from Rhode Island says, "Can I be in your 50,000 subscribers special? My uncle says I'm a good kisser, so that could be your payment if you put me in." They're all from Rhode Island. Well, you made it in, and I don't take kisses as payment anymore. I had a bad
Right.
experience with that once. Space Burbles from Rhode Island says, using this as background audio while I jack off. Why is this what I attract? I don't want to be seen with any of you people. What state of mind do you even have to be in to first type this into your computer, but then proceed to actually comment it? Thanks for that.
I mean, we've all been there, though, right? These are low-key worse than your YouTube chat. I don't think they are. I think my YouTube chat's worse. And the thing is, the YouTube chat you can't ignore. This you can't ignore 100%, right? Anyway, let's skip ahead.
I need an ocean monument. Thank you to this guy on GameFAQs. The other guy means nothing to me now. Instead of spending an hour and a half in your new world, this time you spend 2 hours because you gotta go underwater and all that shit. So you do the whole thing again, blah blah blah. Go underwater, immediately find the Elder Guardian by accident and just spam attack on it, and wow, there you go. This was number 46, by the way. We're like actually getting there. Does getting there mean finishing all the achievements, or me killing myself? You'll just have to watch and find out. And of course, with the Guardian now dead, we get the sponge. Wet the sponge, furnace it. And there's another one down. Wow, I'm never returning to this world again. Remember our little chunk loading render distance lesson earlier? And we tried achieving sniper duel, but the piece of shit render distance reassured us that there is no god? How about that, but literally worse? Beam Me Up is an achievement that requires you to throw an ender pearl and teleport.
My god,
Get
this is gonna be impossible.
100 meters away. Wow, well let's think about this for a second. A version of Minecraft where you can only see 48 blocks in front of you and 64 blocks are rendered at any given time.
Oh
Who
my
in the
God.
holy mother of fuck was
It's
the
not
Oxford
possible.
professor who saw this and was just cool with it? We do see a problem with this, right? You useless dipshits? An achievement that requires you to throw an ender pearl 100 blocks away. Which part of the brain did we pull this one out of? Was it the part with the latex glove stitched to it, or the part with the basic motor skills missing? How did we as a human race even manage to pull this one off? I don't even have words to describe how sick to my stomach I am over this shit. Surely by this point you can understand that I'm frustrated playing this.
I'm just more frustrated that they're making money doing this because people fuck up all the time. People who exist are themselves fuck ups. Like there are people whose birth was an accident, right? And they're not making any money by being an accident. Nobody's making money off accidents most of the time. Most of the time, if you have an accident in your pants, it's a bad thing. You're not being paid. If you are being paid, it's probably because some guy is like, hey, if you shit yourself and I can smell it, I'll give you $1,000. That does exist. That is out there. But those people are rare cases in society. Largely frowns upon them and shames them. I think if we look at Minecraft, the new Nintendo 3DS experience, it's very disturbing how this Minecraft and Nintendo collaboration was the most disastrous thing Minecraft has done when it comes to launching a game on a different console. Apple TV, I don't think was this bad, and it's crazy that this was an accident that they made money off of. Most of the time, when you fuck up, it's actually frowned upon, and it's something where people they don't hold back when criticizing you. This is disturbing.
But really, I'm at a point where all the anger being birthed in my head is just escaping in the form of utter disgust. If this is really what all of human evolution has led to, us making this decision, we just need to blow the planet up at this point.
We do.
I'm willing to just say we gave it our best and this was it. And now we can all
did.
just shoot ourselves. If anyone else
We
feels
can.
the same, please let me know on Twitter or in the subreddit.
I
and
will.
We can all agree on a time and place that works for us. I don't know the simulation distance of
I'm
this
around.
game, and there is no documentation of it online. However, I'm willing to bet that if it is actually at least 100 blocks, which it fucking better be, it's not many more than 100 blocks. Why do I think this? Well, I'm gonna say it has something to do with the fact that throwing an ender pearl often leads to nothing happening because it lands in a chunk that doesn't currently exist. Yes, try throwing an ender pearl.
So
See
it's
how
not
well it works out.
possible.
What a nice waste. You know, you would assume the point of throwing an ender pearl is to get somewhere far away real fast.
But you can't even
so
do
it's
that.
terrific that throwing it far away in this game is
It just fucking deletes it. It's like you may as well throw it in lava.
90% of the time a complete waste of your effort and resources.
Nice.
Let's step back for a second. I'm gonna make the bold assumption that the simulation distance is actually at least 100 blocks. With that in place, I'm gonna make the educated guess that the simulation distance of this game is either 112 or 128 blocks. And I'm leaning more towards 112. But giving it the benefit of the doubt, that leaves a 28 block safe ground in which the Ender Pearl can land and you can actually get the achievement. While 28 blocks seems like a decently sized margin, let's remember that the odds of an Enderman spawning anywhere at all is extremely low in this game.
Right.
And let's remember that the odds of it dropping an Ender Pearl are 50-50. When you throw your Ender Pearl hoping you got the perfect angle that drops the Pearl somewhere in between 100 blocks and 128 blocks, you probably are not going to get it on your first try.
Yeah.
Good fucking God. So what do you do?
So it takes
Well, you
forever.
pull the same shit as you did with Sniper Duel. Dig a hole, build up, and hope. Hope that you counted right. Just make sure you started low enough because the height limit in this
You have to
game is
count
only
the
128
blocks.
blocks. This is the safest bet and the only way I would suggest doing this achievement in this game.
So you have to
Regardless of how
literally
you
just,
choose
like,
to
throw
go
it
about
down
completing this achievement, the best
vertically.
option will always be using the 3DS to beat your own.
So essentially, you're getting the achievement in a way that's just to get the achievement. Like, you're not actually achieving anything. You're just kind of gaming the system. And you're also not using an Ender Pearl properly. So the only person who would get this would be a person who's actually trying to get it. It wouldn't be someone who's actually progressing in the game and naturally gets the achievement. It would be someone who's just been like, I have nothing to do with my life. I am pathetic and I recently got a vasectomy. So now with my free time, I'm going to play Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Experience. And I've decided that I want to complete the game for no fucking reason. And so I'm going to build up because the game doesn't work and then throw an Ender Pearl on the ground to get the achievement. It's a useless waste of time. It sucks. I would like for the achievement to actually be an achievement. Would that work? Could we get that going? Mojang, Satanists, whoever decided that this is acceptable. I'll just call you guys Satanists. Mojang employees is a little bit too absent of blame and fault. It's a bit too absent of satanic energy, which I think it should have, right? That's kind of where I'm going with this. I think it's missing a lot of the neglect that being evil usually carries. So that's a bit of a problem.
Your own head in until you die. Nothing like making 2 animals fuck for an achievement. If I had a nickel for every time I made animals fuck for an achievement, I'd have 2 nickels. There's usually a lot of horses out in the world. Your challenge here is
10
going to be
cents.
finding a donkey. They're not too rare, though. Just drag its ass back home, or don't. I
Ass
brought him
ass.
home because I honestly wasn't paying attention. It was like 4 in the morning, and I have no clue why I did that. Good use of
Right.
my invaluable time. We've made it to number 50. This is the home stretch. Now it gets interesting. The fucking Wither. The dude who has 3 heads and is black. Something most of us can relate to. The
Right.
Nether. Here we are again, going wither hunting. But let me tell you something. I don't have the patience to kill wither skeletons all day. So enchanting we go. Keep moving shit around until you get what you want. So you go back and like 15 minutes later you got your skulls. Find a nice deep cave somewhere and get ready for a very massive dip in performance. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna struggle to get the thing to actually fucking spawn, and then when it finally does, you're gonna run like hell so that when the game freezes for an entire second, you don't die immediately.
Dude,
Then
yes.
you're gonna run in and die.
Because rendering in the Wither would be fucking... It would be like loading in the Minecraft sex mod 5 times.
Immediately. You cannot keep track of this prick. You gotta keep your distance as much as possible in his first form. After that, just keep drinking potions and pray. It doesn't matter how many you drink though. If you get caught in a bad spot, you're gonna die in seconds. Normally, you should be able to just run around him and stay out of sight, but when the frame rate is piss, you just cannot. Like, not a skill issue, not I suck or something. You just cannot keep up with this fuck. Whenever you... Oh, cheating death. Okay then. You know who didn't cheat death? The Bryant party. Because a lot of them died also. After enough fucking around,
Wow,
you kill
that's
the
like the
asswipe
5th
and then
time.
almost die because you forgot that he explodes. The nether star he drops also paves the way for another achievement. And we might as well get that started. Nothing like getting 1,476 fictitious ores to waste my time.
Nice.
If you've already set up your room, then just go mining. Get it over with.
We're
Just
almost
fucking
there.
mine. It's brutal. But if you're lucky enough, you'll die in the process. I wasn't lucky enough for that, so here's my completed beacon. I almost feel something.
All right, guys, we've got 6 to
It's also
go.
worth mentioning that the game has finally hit Google Slide status of frame rate. It's
I think it was like that a while ago.
unbelievably bad. When you've built enough shit in your world, filled in enough of the map, and have chests full of shit, you get the frame rates you're seeing now, and there is nothing you can do about it. It gets so bad sometimes, it's practically unplayable. Sometimes I have to close the game and come back in, because maybe the 3DS's memory is clogged or something, I don't know. I thought it might be because
Oh,
I'm playing off of a
no.
micro SD card, so I put the cartridge in, and nope, it still runs like ass. Nice. Well, I don't have to be here too much longer. There's 6 more achievements, and all of them are locked behind an end portal. It is not impossible, by the way, that an end ship doesn't spawn in the end gateway after defeating the Ender Dragon in this game, meaning no elytra, meaning no this. I've actually had that happen once. I think at that point, you just get a job and give up, honestly. But with an end portal found, it's time to prep. I'd like to say I've had fun playing this, but let me tell you something that just makes it feel so empty. It's all stuck right here on this thing. It's not getting updated anymore. If your world is laggy, then that's just it.
You're
Deal with it
fucked.
or make a new world. But most
Yeah.
of all, there was never an option to transfer worlds to another version of Minecraft. So you'll never see these
So, yeah, it's just like crypto on the USB.
worlds live on with today's updates. There's no solid, reliable way to do this through homebrew
Oh, wow. Oh.
yet, and even if they could fully figure it out or did,
Who would?
you can't just be a normal dude playing this and move your world to another platform. It's
Yeah.
fucking sad. You really
Yeah.
are just trapped on here. I guess it's also what kind of makes
Prison.
this version special. It's just its own thing. A little tiny isolated world that's complete. It's got pretty much all you need, except like a lot, but you know, still. I can't help but find it
Except a
charming,
lot,
but
yeah.
I will say, I am so physically sick of playing this, I just want it to end. I'm getting the same feeling I got when I played Tomodachi Life for like 14 hours. Like, just one way or another, this all needs to end. I need credits, like, now. So, you suffer through your barely tolerable frame rate, suck it up, get lost in a stronghold, and then set the portal. The portal doesn't have the chowder effect like in the other games. I guess we now know that that's where the technical limitations lie. It was this texture that made us wait 6 years. But once you're in, boy, do I have a lot to say.
That's why it's so late.
There's just so much to love.
All right.
First of all, the fog
5
gets
to
turned
go.
off so you can actually see the towers. Thank
Okay,
God.
that's
I
good.
swear to you, the threshold of Enderman face looking at is so much wider in
So,
this game. It feels like no matter where you
He's
look.
gonna kill the Ender Dragon, right? Or not? Oh my god, oh my god. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Oh my god, this might be difficult. What is even happening to him? This is unplayable. Oh my god. That is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Question why you spent all this time to get here, and you can't really answer yourself. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna sit by while Herbert Hoover fucks a dog in 2039.
I'm not familiar.
A fun time. Find the ship, grab the Elytra,
All right,
and my
so he
job
beats
here is
him.
done. I just gotta get back home. I got an idea for this Elytra bullshit. It's fun that the Elytra is
Come on.
in the 3DS edition. It feels so high hopesy. Once you loot the living ass out of these towers and dump
All
everything
right.
in an ender chest, you can finally see the names of all the people you need to send death threats to. It's
Good.
like figuring out who murdered your entire family, except this was more
And they're bragging
heartbreaking.
about it.
Here's what you're gonna
Yes.
do. You're gonna dig a hole, right? Jump down it and you immediately get the achievement. That's
Nice.
splendid. I
Sure.
imagine the devs would program that one and picture you soaring through the air into a tiny hole, but then you can just do this and it's like, shouldn't you guys like do something about this? There is one more
No.
achievement. There
Just
is
leave
one
it.
thing
One
separating
more.
me from putting the 3DS down and taking a piss, and it's a couple lines of code inside a mess of a game. I can only imagine what this game's insides
Please.
look like. The end. Again. Respawn the Ender Dragon. I need 4 end crystals. What do
You
you
can
need
do
for
it.
end crystals? You need gas tears. Great. Just when I thought the hell
You have
was
to go
over,
back
I
to
have
the
to go
Nether.
back to hell.
Oh,
Just love it
no.
all so much. Just too good. I never want it to stop. Thankfully, you don't have to
Fuck.
actually beat him again. You just gotta spawn him in. So
And then,
head back in
and
just
then,
fuck off. Go back in, and that's that. The 59th and final achievement.
oh yeah.
Oh my god. Fuck all of this and fuck the people responsible for this. I am so sick of this shit. Oh my god. The Donner
Boom!
Party may have froze to death and then ate their own families, but that's a birthday party compared to the shit I just did. So
Right.
that's that.
Well, there you
Those
go.
were the achievements, and the fog doesn't come back in the over.
That may have been the most unemployed thing I've ever watched. That's awesome. What's this?
We got
Whoa.
someday in 20.
What is this?
Doing nothing. Also, the old stonecutter is in this game, but does nothing. On some day in 2018, for some reason, the Minecraft website announced a Creeper-themed 2DS XL would be coming out in Europe and Japan with Minecraft pre-installed on it. No North America. We got the physical release, but they get the Creeper 2DS. And how do it be? It's pretty cool. It's
That
weird
looks
seeing
sick.
the Microsoft logo on the
I wanna
box of
buy
the
that.
Nintendo console. It's also one of 3
Yeah,
Minecraft
what?
themed.
Wait, that's
It's
insane.
weird seeing the
That's
Microsoft
so
logo
weird.
on the box of a Nintendo console. It's also one of 3 Minecraft-themed consoles, one of 2 not to be released in North America. I don't even get these decisions, by the way. We keep pretending this is normal, but like, why did this happen in the middle of 2018?
Like,
did we forget that, like,
yeah.
this was all happening? And this is what it was promoting? We do know that, right? Who told someone to do this, and then they actually did it? Who told someone to do literally any of this? Who's the guy who did this? This isn't unique to the Creeper Edition 2DS XL, but I've always loved how the speakers on this console are both at the bottom. Like, what? There's a million
The sound targets your chest.
ways to accidentally cover these things, whether that be with your palms when playing or with your torso while you rested on yourself. Since the Switch was out already, I think Nintendo just let some intern design this thing on like an Etch-a-Sketch or something. As if
It's
every other
terrible.
DS
It looks cool though, I
and
won't
3DS
lie.
ever doesn't just have the speakers next to the screen so they're protected when you close the system. And then since the
Right.
speakers are on the outside,
They will also get clogged.
dust can get in to muffle the audio. I mean, there's literally no sense to this design. It's like anti-design. What are the most pointless changes we can make that ruin the functionality of our system? See, this way if the
Yes.
console suffers from
They're asking that question a lot.
any kind of water damage, the speakers will be the first thing to go. Common sense just doesn't happen anymore in this industry. I know I'm lingering on this, but it's not like these speakers are going to be playing anything special. The music in this game is so fucking compressed, it's ridiculous. Listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
2DS XLs are built so cheaply, I wouldn't be surprised if you could blow these speakers out playing this game. I was always annoyed when the
It doesn't sound the best.
Next update for this game would come out, and a feature I was hoping for wasn't added yet. I remember making this whole Hunger Games world thinking that some future update would let you change the game mode in Super Flat Worlds. But nope, that just never happened. And why? Why didn't they just let you do that? They never updated the game to let you have more than 8 worlds. And I always thought they would add the ability to copy worlds.
They don't really seem to care.
Grand total of 3 months and 27 days. Wow, what an absolute con. Maybe the console legacy games were loved so much because they worked. They were versions of Minecraft built and optimized specifically for the platforms they were on.
Well, it's clear that this one wasn't. And I think we're just going to leave it at that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please show loads of love to Bearman3600. What an amazing fucking video. I love this guy's channel. Really funny. I mean, this game is like crazy that this got out, and like everything around it is like absurd. Yeah, thank you guys for watching.